Building an offshore wind farm is only possible if the weather allows it. This might sound obvious, but believe me, this is something that is often well underestimated. I am Mathieu, and in this channel, we speak about offshore wind construction. In offshore wind construction project, the construction offshore is always subject to weather conditions. Many deciding parties in this industry tend to completely forget this fact. But let me remind everyone, for building an offshore wind farm, one of the most common activities is heavy lifting. And heavy lifting at sea can only be done under wind speed condition below 15 meters per second, which is about 30 knots. Generally between 10 and 15 meters per second. We need heavy lifting at sea for what? For foundation, generally jacket, pin pile, can also be gravity based. We also need it for the OSS foundation, the top side, and ultimately we also need it for the wind turbine generator, generally made of 3 tower sections, 1 generator and 3 blades. But not only that, for installing cables, for instance, between 2 foundations, the wind is also important, but the wave height is driving. We need the wave height generally below 1.5 meter. And it is even worse if we want to pull a cable to the beach. For this kind of activity, we need wave height very small, below 0.5 meter. And this for 2 to 3 days. So for all these activities, we cannot start whenever we want. So the first question we need to ask when we start building a project timeline is, when can I actually start my operations? In every installation locations, there is months with very good weather conditions, and there is other months with nearly no possibility to install anything. Typically in Europe, in US or in Southeast Asia, the months from start of April to end of September can be considered as good for installation. But from October to March, forget about trying to install anything. There will be nearly zero installation window. To build an offshore wind farm, many people and many equipment are required to be mobilized. And at some point in the middle of an installation campaign, this can represent a bill of $1 million per day. So it is very important to make good use of all these people and equipment mobilized and not to waste any of this. Because no one wants to pay for people and for equipment on standby while waiting for good weather. But unfortunately, whether it is used or not, equipment and people mobilized still needs to be paid. Now we can understand a bit better why it is so important to be ready when the good season starts. All component installation offshore are subject to strict rules, and are controlled and regulated by insurances. A so-called marine warranty surveyor is on board of each critical vessel to witness each critical operation, but also the client representative and sometimes a third-party certifier. This is to ensure that the contractor is building the wind farm in accordance with approved procedures. And all these approved procedures have been checked, reviewed by all these parties. If something happened during installation, the contractor will be able to be covered by the procedure that has been approved. So in short, no one can install any component if the required weather window as specified in the approved procedures is not open. And there is no way to bend these rules once we are offshore. So no weather window, no installation. In oil and gas, we can see few cables, 1 or 2 platforms, but in offshore wind it can be up to 20, 30, up to even 100 turbines. By starting 1 month late, let's say in May instead of in April, we are not facing only 1 month's delay. We may face the risk of not being able to complete the work by the end of the good weather season. And this is not only 1 month's delay, it's a 6 months delay risk. All the components that have not been installed needs to remain in the ports. We need to remain with the people mobilized to take care of these components, and the project cost is building up. Believe me, port fees, storage cost to maintain turbines that are pre-assembled in the port, all of this is very expensive. So it is always preferable to get everything done in one go rather than having to do it in 2-3 campaigns. Now, offshore wind is not only about construction. Before construction, one needs to get the permits, one needs to get the contract in place, and there is many negotiations. In general, human beings tend to disagree. People want better conditions, better remuneration, better supplier, better installation strategy. But it is very important to put the limits and not to drag the project further. And this is only possible if every party is aware of the timeline and the risk of delaying the timeline. In many occasions, some people in their small areas believe that with 1 week, with 2 weeks more, they will be able to get a better outcome. But this outcome is being paid big time down the line. When everything is mobilized, only a few days cost millions. And this is where Winlight makes the difference. We monitor all these processes and we turn complex decisions into clear actions before time and weather works against you. If you want to go deeper and explore our training and consultancy services, feel free to visit our website. You will find the link in the description of this video. To conclude this video, I want to remind that it's very important to get our priority clear. The most challenging and complex part of an offshore wind project is construction. It is not getting the permit, it is not negotiating the contract, it is getting the components installed offshore on time. And this was my very first YouTube video. I'm sure I have a lot to improve. I started this project by receiving a promise in the Word of God in Psalm chapter 81, verse 10. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Open your mouth wide and I will fill it. Through this channel, I will share insights on offshore wind construction and its challenges, taken from real project experience. If you found value in this video, don't forget to subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next one.